everybody? I'm Winston A. Marshall, aka the Swaggy Blurred, and this is my spoiler review of Black Mirror Season 6, Episode 2, Loch Henry. So again, this is a spoiler. You saw it on the thumbnail. You heard me say it right now. If you haven't watched the episode and you don't want what's going to pop off, then you might need to go watch it and come back. Make sure you do. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can check out all the videos and stuff that I have here and get notifications when that go up. But let's jump into Loch Henry, man. This was pretty wild. Not on the craziest end of Black Mirror, because if we're being honest, we've seen some truly effed up, some truly fucked up shit over the course of the years. But that doesn't take away from this episode. What it really ends up focusing on, which is pretty crazy. You got a young film couple. Pia and Davis, played by Samuel Blanken, and Myha'la Harold. I'm so sorry if I messed up y'all's names, but what I do love that Charlie Broker's doing here, and he does this with a number of these episodes of Black Mirror, you end up with some pretty strong star power in some veteran actors, like John Hannah's in this as Richard King, the father of Stuart King, and Stuart King is played by Daniel Portman, who was in Game of Thrones. So you do have some star power, but you're really giving an opportunity for two people that are up and coming to just shine, and to really get not only that jumping off point for them as actors, but to also let you really jack into the episode, because you're not caught up about like, oh, that's so and so. That's like the one thing, for example, with Joan is Awful. Obviously, you had both Selma Hayek and Annie Murphy in that, as well as Michael Cera. You had a lot of stars, but that was to prove a point. That was specifically because it was about the whole idea of selling your likeness and all that kind of stuff. In this case, again, since we're looking at two young film students and their journey in this essentially true crime that they didn't realize that they were sort of at the center at, you kind of want no names. You want, or excuse me, not no names, but up and comers would be a more appropriate way to say it. And this episode is wild. So again, you've seen it. The idea that the kids come to shoot a film about this vigilante egg protector. Turns out they hear a story about Ian Adair, and Stuart is like, look, the town has been dead ever since these murders in the 90s, man. If you did the documentary on it, true crime is a huge freaking deal right now. We get people to come back. And that's what they end up doing. And they go to the Adair house where Ian was supposedly torturing people that he was kidnapping, like sexual torture, physical violence and torture, and then ultimately killing them. And he had buried a bunch of bodies in the back. But what you find out, when we get to the end of this, and this is the part that like blows your mind. But again, we've seen much more twisted stuff in Black Mirror. You have them. Turns out that Janet, Davis's mom, and his deceased dad Kenny, who was a cop, they were actually the perpetrators that were out here kidnapping, torturing, both like violent torture and sexual torture, and then killing people. It was Janet and Kenny. So you get this really interesting situation because you have Pia, who's a black woman, a black American woman, who's exploring the Scottish town, and things are kind of weird, but like she's already on edge. She mentions up top that she doesn't really trust police, and ironically, this was a corrupt cop and his wife doing unspeakable things. So what I love about this episode specifically is there is this fascination in America, specifically recently, and it's probably around the world, to be honest with you, with true crime, literally, of these horrible murders, kidnappings, missing folk, whatever it may be. There's this fascination with true crime. I feel like every woman that I know, all of my female friends, my aunties, my cousins, every single one of them has a true crime show or shows that they rock with. So it really gets kind of at the center of this, especially when you get to the end of the episode. And Davis won a BAFTA. He ends up winning a BAFTA for this, because what they were originally going in for to do this true crime on Ian Adair ends up being about his family, ends up being about how his parents were sick, twisted fucks, and they were actually out here doing the unspeakable things that they thought were attributed just to this one sociopath. And it turns out that Ian honestly was just very impressionable. He's, crazed in the head already, clearly, but he was being manipulated by these two older folks that brought him into the sex games and everything like that. And you see him at the very end. I thought that was an incredibly powerful shot. He won the BAFTA. At the BAFTA Awards, there's like kind of this like callousness by the executive producer where, she's giving her speech and all that kind of stuff. And, we want to thank Davis and his late girlfriend, Pia. And, everybody's applauding, but nobody knows what this dude is really going through. And then they're having another conversation, and this actress comes up, and this executive producer, she's fake as hell. She's like, I hate this actress. This bitch is annoying. Oh, she's coming over. Oh my God, I love you. And we're gonna cast a Pia in the dramatization in the feature film we're doing now. We would love to have you. And saying this all in front of Davis, where like you were shit talking this actress, now you're blowing smoke up her ass, but also just flippantly being like, we need to cast just you as just some random, black woman, whatever. But like that's the dude's girlfriend who died at the hands, essentially, because she was trying to run from Janet, of his mom. So like you just see his soul as this is happening slowly just slip away. Like even Stewart is super excited that Davis ended up winning the BAFTA for the documentary because the tourism came back. But like, I think what this episode was really trying to get the core at, because the final shot is him sitting there with the champagne, with the award, just completely drained, his humanity gone. This idea that like, I get that people like true crime, I get that people are really about it, but like, it feels like people very quickly forget about the humanity that is behind this, the people that are left in their wake. They're so fascinated with the said true crime, and it reminds me of what the Gabby Petito situation with like her boyfriend. So people were so caught up in the mystery of it. It did feel at times like the humanity of the situation was gone. And to that point, you have a situation where, a lot of times you end up with black and brown women, a majority of the time, where they end up in similar situations of being missing, kidnapped, killed, all that kind of stuff. And they don't get nearly as much attention, which was another thing that was very interesting. Pia was mentioned a few times here and there, but really wasn't focused on really at all. And I mean, I know obviously it's not as interesting as all the gruesome murders or anything like that, but just it's very interesting how she became a very quick footnote in this whole situation by the end of it. But I think that's really what, because I always feel like Charlie Brooker is always using Black Mirror both to examine technology and how it affects us, and obviously there's the main focus here is this old camcorder and the VHS tapes. And because ironically, the only reason that Pia got scared and figured out what was going on, that kind of set off the chain of events that ended the episode, was because they had to record on old VHS tapes that were being used for their detective show, that the Bacharach, Detective Bacharach, whatever it is, that Janet was obsessed with. Because I had to use the same tape, she inadvertently ended up seeing the torture porn at the end of the episodes of the detective show. So that's where that technology element comes in. But I think that the message Charlie was going for is we have to be really careful in these situations where we get so caught up in the spectacle, we get so caught up in the mystery or the story, the entertainment, because a lot of people, that's the thing. These types of true crime documentaries are their own form of reality TV. Obviously, they're real events that are going on, but people get sucked up in the drama, like, oh my God, I can't believe they got grisly murdered like that, and forgetting about people's humanity. I think that's the main point that he was really trying to push forward, and I think that that's always been the big thing about Black Mirror, is this idea of you don't want to lose your humanity. And especially not with technology. That's the thing, is that a lot of the technology elements are either, sometimes, very rare times, we're getting to see more humanity come in. So like San Junipero was about how technology allowed someone to be more human and be themselves. What top 2 favorite episodes of Black Mirror by far. And in this case, this is about us being so caught up, and you gotta love Netflix allowing Charlie Brooker to keep taking swings at them. Again, the fictional world of Streamberry instead of Netflix. But exactly that, you're taking shots at them as well. It's very callous, like we're just out to get our awards, whatever, and people just eat this true crime shit up. They want more, they want more, and they're not paying attention to the humans behind it. So that being said, out of 10, I'd probably give this like a 6.5. It wasn't awful. Like I might even put it up to like a 7, honestly. I can give it a solid 7. It's not that it was awful, anything like that. While I was intrigued for a bit, I think because we have seen, I'm not saying that you need the shock and awe factor all that much, but you kind of do. That's what we kind of expect from Black Mirror. So it was a twist to be like, oh shit, Moms was behind this. She was a part of this. But we have seen so much more fucked up shit before that I think this kind of desensitized me. And it's not like it is a story that is so gripping like San Junipero. That isn't fucked up. It's more just like a very touching human story. I wasn't as connected to this per se. It was still very good. I still enjoyed it, but it just didn't hit the way the other stuff did. But I'm curious what you think, man. What did you think of Loch Henry? What do you think so far? We've covered both Loch Henry and Joan is Awful. So what are you thinking about season 6 of Black Mirror? I want to know, so make sure you're down in the comments and letting me know what is good. And if you haven't already, like I said before, hit that subscribe button, man. We're trying to continue to get those numbers up, bro. My immediate goal is to get to 2,000. And on top of that, please be sure to watch some of these other videos and comment on them and all that other stuff. I got other reviews, out of theater reactions, comedy stuff. I got Breakfast AM News, all that stuff. I'm trying to get those watch numbers up so we can get the channel monetized and all that. You know what the deal is. But again, I'm very curious what you think and if you're excited to keep it going. And like I mentioned in the other videos before, I will be doing one of these a day this week. So obviously you're getting Loch Henry right now, and then you will get the next episode is called Beyond the Sea. You'll get Beyond the Sea tomorrow, and I believe this is one. This is the one that stars. Oh my goodness, homie from Breaking Bad. Not Jesse Plemons is Friday Night Lights. Oh my God, my brain is fully going out of my head. Hold on. Beyond the Sea. Oh my God. Aaron Paul. There it is. Aaron Paul. He is a great actor. I'm glad to see him doing something like this. And Kate Mara's in it too. All right, cool. So we're getting a little bit of star power in here again. So it'll be very interesting to see what that one is about. So again, and Josh Hartnett. Wow, very star stacked. Cool, awesome. So anyway, come back tomorrow to check out Beyond the Sea, my spoiler review of that. Until then, y'all, make sure you're having a good time. You're taking care of yourself. You're being safe. I got nothing but love for you. Peace.